Hi everyone, my name is REDRUP. You're listening to the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by the up-and-coming British trio, Mouth Culture. We discuss when and how the band formed, what it's like living together, being signed to InVogue Records, their new Mishaps of My Mid-20s EP, their growing loyal fan base, looking back on what they've achieved in 2023, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some of our perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by all three members of Mouth Culture. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good.
Easy, brother. We're all good.
Tired, just come off tour, but yeah, feeling good.
Yeah. Resting up.
Talkative though.
He's got his coffee, he's ready.
Yeah, well, you've only got like a few days to rest because, you know, the sleep show is just around the corner. So it'll be your last show of the year, isn't it? The last show of 2023.
One big one to go out on. So it's
going around so fast.
It's very exciting, but it's also very nerve-wracking as well because it's the biggest show we've ever done. So
it's going to be a very wholesome day because if anyone has followed us, they'll know that it's kind of a little joke that we've gone from playing the Peddler Market to playing the Octagon. And it's like, it's so full circle because although we're not from Sheffield, we felt the love from Sheffield this year, haven't we? Like, we've probably played there the most out of anywhere in the UK.
Right.
So it's so nice to end the year there as well with them. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be so many like familiar faces that are seeing us where they've been saying all year, you should be playing big stages, blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone's been saying as a joke to us all year, like, when are you going to play with Sleeps then, blah, blah, blah. And it's
got the wraps for a while. It was never like we didn't know if we could confirm it or not, and we were just a bit like wanted to say it, but it wasn't. I think it was like 95% when it, and 5% were like sod's law, we'll say it, and then it's not going to come.
Yeah, it's meant. We're all excited. It's going to, like you say, it's the last one of the year. It's going to be a nice way to end it, and it's time to breathe, as we were just saying before we started.
Yeah, have a nice little sleep. Yeah.
And a shitload of food.
Yeah.
That's the bit I'm ready for. My stomach's been like making the most amount of noise it's ever made this past week.
Yeah, we've been running on sandwiches from service stations, so
yeah, £5.50 meal deals that you don't want to buy.
Yeah. But if you don't, then you're not going to eat. So
exactly. No, yeah,
cuisine at its finest. Yeah. You're doing that little. They're doing like a pop-up, aren't they, beforehand as well at their warehouse thing? I don't know.
It's the merch market. It's at Peddler Market.
Right.
Where we've played a few times, and yeah, it's us and all the other bands that are playing, just doing like a merch pop-up thing for the day, and then heading down to the show. So
yeah, it's really nice because it actually you get sometimes once you've played and you go to the merch table, like you probably don't get to see everyone. Whereas doing this is pretty cool because it allows people to come down. Like some people haven't even got a ticket, but they're coming down to the merch thing and they're going to come and say hey and stuff. And we've got some exclusive merch that we've had made. We've done a collab with our mate Melville. He's like a sick graphic designer and artist. So we've got a limited run of that we're excited to bring with us. Just had to restart on everything else.
The dreaded restart.
Big plug here, you know. This is a very big plug. I'm sorry for dragging on. Yeah, any bit of Mouth Culture merch that you have seen will be at the show and the market.
So head down and pick something up.
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah,
man, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, you guys are a relatively new band. I think you guys formed in 2018 and initially as like a 5-piece, you're now a trio.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it was a weird start, wasn't it? It was
straight to COVID pretty much, wasn't it, after?
Yeah, it was weird because when we started writing, I think we kind of like, I'm not saying we were a shoegaze band, but that's the kind of bracket that people were putting us in. But then we didn't want to write just shoegaze music. We have this like other side of us and these other influences that we weren't keen on hiding or not using in it. And yeah, so since from then to now, it's been quite a journey. But I think within the last year, Mouth Culture has really became the mouth culture is like, it's took a very long process. And what's the saying? You don't get what without breaking.
You don't get an omelette without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah, I knew I was going to say something wrong. I didn't want to.
What's that saying?
What's that saying? It's been a long week. I apologise, but no. Yeah, like I say, it's been a long old process, but it's cool that we're here now.
Yeah. So how did the band form? Because I think you, Jack, you were in a band called Omaha, and then Mason, I think you were in a band called Part of the Problem, but I couldn't find anything on.
You've done your research.
So from the scene in Leicester, like me and Jack have played in, well, like you said, we played in bands before, and me and Jack knew each other kind of through like mutual friends. And then I joined Omaha for like a brief stint, and then just started writing after that. And then I think we sent a couple of messages to each other, and then just started writing music. And then we met Todd in 2019. Yeah, towards the end of 2019. But funny story. Todd actually helped Jack write like our first song, so 15 Missed Calls.
And he wasn't even in the band.
And he weren't in the band, so it was like.
But he was
meant to be at that point.
Yeah, we were like housemates, and we'd worked with each other before, and then we became housemates. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, then the old bass player, we kind of like parted ways with them, and then I saw it as like just an opportunity, I guess. I've been in bands before, but just like nothing ever substantial, and I felt like it was a great opportunity for me because I'd only just met like the other guys that I'd known Jack before because we worked together. And then, we just hit it off. And then
you'd never even played bass, had you?
No, I didn't play bass.
That was the thing. He could play guitar, and I was like, I don't care, mate. You've been in the band. Like, just do it. And he did. He did it. And now he shreds.
I do.
Yeah, like just wing it. But I guess not to say that you couldn't play bass at all, because obviously you could.
Yeah, the changeover is not like a completely new instrument. Right? It's just two less strings.
But I guess part of it is you want to be in a band with people that you actually would want to spend time with more than someone who's, I don't know, like a bass wizard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think for me it was like having been in a band, like obviously people make music and they like the music, but maybe don't necessarily fully believe in it. Whereas this, I saw a complete path of where we could go with it. So from the get-go, we just kind of hit the ground running, and we just been writing and kicking ever since, really.
It was your college tutor, wasn't it? Said to you when you were younger that in order to make it as a band, you need to live with each other and you need to start what the Monkeys did and so what. But then, so we had it in our heads that we should do that. And then as a joke, you were looking at houses, weren't you, for you and your fiance? And he saw this like house that was huge and it cost a lot. But he was like, we could all live there, so why don't we do it? And what went from a joke was then like, yeah, let's do it. So everyone moved into the house, and we're still here now. How many years have we been there?
Like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we've just been, like I say, from the start, like in that 4 years, it's obviously changed a lot. And even those members that were in the band at the time, like they were a huge part of it. Like we wouldn't be where we are now without that happening. And they are still like, they were our brothers. Do you know what I mean? Like we lived with them, we did everything with them. So then when they moved out, it was hard, wasn't it? And there was a point where we weren't questioning mouth culture, but we were questioning like, how the hell are we going to do this? Like
the future was uncertain, I think. But I think we found kind of like a safe space again in just making music. Like where we're doing this podcast from now, this is the studio where we do all like pre-production and demoing and everything. And I think when we were kind of uncertain about what was going on, we wrote about it. We just wrote about it, yeah. And that's the record that we've just put out. It's a big collection of basically the past year of our lives, and it's this record's like a big deal to us as well, because obviously it means so much, and what we've heard from fans so far as well is it resonates with them as well. I think the topics are very, I don't know what's the word.
They're inevitable for everyone. So
relatable.
It's an unavoidable experience that I think you have to go through in your through your 20s into your adult life. And I think a lot of people write about that stuff, but I think we wrote it in a way where it was open for your own interpretation. So it wasn't necessarily like an anecdote of what we'd gone through. It was just sort of channeling those emotions into something where people could apply their own story to.
And it was cathartic for us as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, how did you wing getting a house for a band with the landlord? Like, how did you do that?
We're not going to say anything about that. We're not going to give away secrets on this podcast.
We're all on the tenancy, and then Jack got added on last year, basically. So basically, when the other lads moved out, it opened up a space for everyone who's here.
It's not always been above board, put it that way. Like,
right.
Well, it's the old landlord now. Surely we can say it.
No,
not the old landlord, the old letting agency. Anyway, I won't incriminate ourselves. So let's get
I just started sweating.
We've done nothing wrong. We just have shit.
It could have been less and less. Less of fucking.
Don't worry, I'd be surprised if the landlord listens to this, but who knows?
Oh my God. Imagine.
That'd be an interesting conversation.
Oh no.
It would. That's for the next podcast.
I'd kind of rate it though, you know.
It's funny though, because like where we live, a lot of we have neighbours obviously and stuff, and like a lot of people where we live know that we're a band and stuff.
They love it.
And they love it. Like, we go down to the local pub and they're like, oh, that fucking band's turned up.
They're here.
It's because everyone in there's like in normal clothes and we're just coming in this bright, stupid colours. And everyone's like, what are these guys?
We've got like the best neighbours as well. Like they're quite young. They're like a family of 4, aren't they? And they've got the dog and really, really nice family. But he's into like football and he's not really like let's say like a rocking kind of guy. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But he's like so helpful. He was like, if you ever go on tour, I can ring the local football team up and we can get the coach. You can borrow that, blah blah blah. Like, everyone's just so nice.
Like all the guerrilla methods.
Yeah,
that's cool.
We thought they'd hate us, but we really get on. We go around there on New Year's Eve and stuff, don't we? And it's really nice.
Take the fence panels out between the two gardens, and it's one big open complex.
Well,
I mean, as long as you're paying rent on time and the property's fine, like, what's the issue?
Well, exactly. Well, we've survived this long, mate.
We've never missed a rent payment.
Record.
When we might have to quit our jobs next year to tour, but we'll see what happens.
Survival mode engaged.
Yeah.
After dropping a few songs, you signed to InVogue Records, so you're still with now. What's it like been working with them as like a kind of partnership and being a part of that roster as well?
But it was weird because they actually picked us up for I Hate Sad Songs a few years ago. And then at the time, they then were merging with Thriller. It was just one of them things where we were told you might get lost in the big pond. They were being honest with us, which we appreciated because you know what it's like in this game. Sometimes people aren't straightforward with you and whatnot. But we agreed to part ways and we've always had a good relationship with them. We went on and we did our own thing. We self-released These Days and we did a few other songs and whatnot. And then as we were so the singles that we've released this year, that was like the new era of mouth culture. And as we started to put that out, we realised that we were just, I guess, drip feeding a record out. And once we'd finished the record, we had Nick, the owner of InVogue, message us and say, hey guys, like, what are you guys doing? Because everything you're releasing at the minute is like unreal. And we just told him, like, we've actually got this record. And it was, you wouldn't believe it because the universe, like, we needed it. We'd put so much into it and everything from down to we chose with this one to go to the bigger recording studios and we'd invested in like bigger budgets on videos and whatnot. But anything we could pull in, we had. And we just didn't have any more money. And it was just not to make it about money at all, but we needed that next step. Like, we believe in the DIY scene and stuff, but we needed a little help. And an indie label like InVogue, they seemed like the perfect match, didn't they? And we've been very happy since, and we get on the board with them over there.
No, I think it was more. It was the sort of the gaps in our experience and knowledge that they filled, and we're sort of everything's come as a whole now. So we've got everything in order. Like, nothing gets missed or nothing gets we could have done that, could have done this. Everything's on the table. And I think that's just making us a bit more of a powerhouse now because every avenue that we can like tackle, we are. So I think it's going to be a really good relationship with them.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you need to be with a label that you enjoy working with because there's so many kind of like horror stories with labels out there, isn't there?
100%, man. Yeah. Like we were so worried, weren't we, at the same time? But then, like I say, it all just aligned. It was really, really weird because we were talking to a few different people, and then when Nick did message, we kind of sat there and we were like, you know what? when we did work with Nick, we never had a bad experience with him, and he's always been straight with us. He's obviously interested in us, and he's got a passion for it. And so we just kind of didn't, after a few meetings, we didn't even think about it very.
Yeah. And I think the deal as well, and the way he approached it and explained it to us was a lot easier for us because we had been burnt before with previous experiences. So we were very apprehensive about committing to something so big, especially with a record that we cared so much about. But yeah, everything that we had sort of queries on, we brought up with him, and it was explained perfectly. And yeah, we're super happy with moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Well, that record you're talking about, you released a few weeks ago called Mishaps of My Mid-20s.
Yeah, man.
Have you been finding the fans and critics have been taking to that?
It's been overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like I said, we were writing it without even realising we were writing it. So once we had it, it kind of, for a few months, as soon as it was wrote and we recorded it, we got the masters back. Like, I remember there was a couple of months where, not like I didn't fully get it, but when you've been working on something for so long, you're invested in it in a completely different way. Do you know what I mean? But then once it was released, I remember listening through to it, and I just had that moment of like, this actually sounds like a record. Like, it sounds like something I would have listened to when I was younger, and it was a nice feeling, isn't it? We all feel like accomplished with it, like we have accomplished something with it, and we've fulfilled what we wanted to do. And it's a very honest record, which is probably the best thing. That's all we wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't want to just.
It was a big thing for you, wasn't it? It was when playing live, like especially songs that mean, because Jack writes majority of the lyrics, so it's for him. It's you're singing your experiences, right?
Yeah.
So it's like when he has something that he can connect with, his performance is like tenfold on something that he doesn't resonate with. So I think these songs all have that for all of us. So when we're playing it, singing it, what we're doing,
it's been different.
Yeah.
The record, it sounds cheesy, but it's like it's even took our game up live as well, hasn't it? Like you say, like, because we're all enjoying playing the songs like so much, but now we appreciate the old songs as well even more, because we've put a new spin on them, and I think they sound a lot different live than they do on the old records, don't they? Sure. They sound like the current mouth cultures. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting title to go with the EP, and I obviously don't want you to say anything that you would find kind of embarrassing or anything, but what kind of mishaps have you guys had in your 20s that, you kind of look back and like, oh, I can't up there?
How long we got? Look at them.
I think it's. I mean, it can get deep with that kind of answer, but it's just it's just a collection of our personal experiences, really, about
lost. I think a big one was losing friends.
Getting older, realizing you drift from certain people that you thought that you'd have in your life for fucking ever, and like trying to battle those hurdles, but we've been able to like get over it together through this. Like,
I think
they all interlock, don't they? Really, because it's like you can pillar each individual sort of aspect. So like finances, stuff that we've got to worry about, that we've got to support ourselves personally as well as the band and the business doing, and then we've got to uphold friendships that we've had prior, which sometimes we've had to sacrifice with the commitment we make to the band.
Yeah.
And in that respect, it's quite niche because that's a situation specific to us. So for someone else who would lose friends going through their 20s would be a completely different reason, whether they move away for work, whether they have a fallout and they don't talk about it. There's so many different aspects that can result in the themes that we're trying to put into the songs. And I think that's the way it was written, is why it can be sort of resonated with easier, whether it being a specific story, it's more open for you to be like, okay, that feeling is what Jack's talking about, rather than the situation that led to it. Yeah. It's just something, like I say, it's something that's inevitable for everyone to go through, because life just does that. No one has a perfect life. Everyone has their own struggles, and I think we just wanted a record that showcased it.
Go Todd.
Podcast ready.
I'm out of breath for you then. What Todd said. No, as you can imagine, we've had a few mishaps. We've all had falling in love with someone you probably shouldn't have. Like, we've all had family issues, as have like many people in this day and age now. But like that, I think that's what kind of makes us, it's bonded all three of us together so much, because we all recognise what we've gone through when we were younger and how it affects us now, and that's how like the way I handle things, like the actual title track, Mishaps in my mid-20s, I wrote that after losing my fucking shit with these two. It was the day of a show, and my head had gone, and I was just kicking off, as I normally do, over nothing. But I'd gone too far, and then we made it up like we always do, and it was fine. And then I just remember the next day I was listening to the instrumental, and I just felt shit. I just felt like, why do I just keep like attacking everything that's good around me for no reason? And then I just wrote about it and kind of wanted to write something to them, and then it was nice as well. It was a good apology to like, oh lads, listen to this.
Yeah, we get listen to this.
But it meant a lot, and then that's why that night when we were all sat out having a like chill or whatever, like we heard that line, we were like, that's what the EP should be called.
Well, you said it in actual passive conversation. We were just talking outside, and then you said Mishaps in the 20s. I can't remember the direct way you were saying it in conversation, but you said it, and then we just went, oh.
Like a light bulb moment.
Yeah, that sounds like
ding,
the
ding.
EP. We're like, yeah, that's it. And sometimes, I think the best things do happen just like that, rather than to force a title or force a certain, I don't know, aesthetic look, whatever it may be. The organic ones are always like way more authentic and enjoyable, I think. So.
Yeah. So was there a specific moment when you were, putting these songs together where you were like this is definitely going to be an EP or album of some sort?
I think we knew when we had 6 songs, and that was made up of 4 that we'd already put out in the year earlier. So that was Cherry, Johnny, Sunny, and Don't Pull Up. So that was made up of those songs that we put out, and then we were umming and ahhing about what song was going to be the 7th to complete the EP. We've got like a whole load of songs that we've written over the last 4 years, and there's so many strong ideas that we love that we know if we could, just work on them and finish them, that we could put more records out and stuff. But within the last week leading up to recording in the studio, we actually wrote Sharp Bait, which turned out to be the lead single of the EP. So it was kind of weird, wasn't it? Because we had the 6 songs, and we were like, we need a 7th song. Like, what are we going to do? And I think there was a couple of different options that we were going to use, but they didn't fit what is the record now. Yeah.
And we knew that, and then so we were battling with it, and then we had some shit go on with someone, and then we just needed to rage a bit, didn't we? So we wrote Sharp Bait, and then it was kind of the perfect timing because we needed another song, and then
I think it embodied the authenticity we wanted.
Yeah,
it was like that. It just happened to us, and it was like something who we used to work with, and it was like it had a big financial impact on us, the situation. Yeah. So it was really stressing us out with recording costs that were coming out at the time. We're doing music videos, and this just came out of the blue, and it was like, what? And we completely frazzled as like just literally like 2 weeks or a week before we're going to studio. And we did what we always do as our sort of therapy, so to speak, and we wrote a song about it, and then just ended up being the lead single. And it was just one that we just knew it was the right moment, the right time.
Best kind of fuck you.
Yeah. That's a way to make the best out of a bad situation, because I've heard that Sharp Bait all over on TikTok recently.
Nice.
So
yeah, we've been pushing the old Tiki. We were very inexperienced before with that sort of stuff, but yeah, to kind of harness the power of it now and not succumb to it, but sort of accepted it, but doing our own way of doing it, because we're not like, oh, here's the top song of the summer, and
do a little dance.
No, we've done that. Like, we've had to try doing that. Like,
yeah, it's part of the process.
This whole social media thing is a complete different game now. Like from when we were younger, listening to bands, like the way we'd listen to bands and
download from LimeWire.
Yeah, like the kind. No, we didn't. God. True. No, we but like like. The way you used to connect with bands and stuff, it was so different, and it's almost as if artists now, like, you have to give so much of yourself over, and it's almost
it can come across as like superficial sometimes.
Yeah, it's almost like just too thin everywhere. You're spreading yourself too thin, and like
we've had the same conversation like with quite a few bands that we've toured with as well, and it's about finding your niche within there without almost selling out to that platform, if you know what I mean. I think it's pretty easy to do that on TikTok and not be sincere. I think that's what we've kind of found.
I think what we've also found as well, though, is it's like it helps if you're busy, like recently we've been so busy. We've had shows to announce, and we've had like the EP dropping. And when you've got something that you're pushing, and you've got all these events going on around you, and you've got loads of things to shout about, it's content galore, isn't it? But I remember that there was points where we'd release something and we didn't have anything going on, and then we were like, right, let's try and get this song to pop. Let's go into town now, and we'd like argue some days doing it, because I was like, I'll say it, I'm normally like, I used to be a bit like, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to fucking dance in public pretending to sing the song. But then Todd had made me realise, like, look, this is how you reach people. If you want to do it, like, let's just give it a go. So we did, and they worked, didn't they? Like, we were like, he proved me wrong. Like, my mind was blown. But like, I don't go on TikTok now, but we still, like Todd said, we just found our own way of doing it. And we just, like I say as well, it helps if you're busy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's the same like with like Instagram, isn't it? When you're on tour, you get all these photos, and you can just kind of stockpile putting these photos on your Instagram. But when
that's why I do Instagram. I love it. It's easy. Yeah. But you see, to a point, even Instagram's the same though now, isn't it? Like,
yeah, the real side of things.
Like you get told from some people, like, you should be posting like 4 stories a day, 2 posts, one in the, and it's like, yeah, like we can do that, and we've got all stuff to do that. But then at the same time, I don't want my fans to be then looking at their phone thinking, God, I'm sick of seeing his face. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we've all been there, haven't we? You know, you just keep seeing the same thing, and you're like, oh, go away. But
you don't want to oversaturate.
Yeah. It's a very tough game.
It's like an extra full-time job. Like, you got to create the content, then you got to schedule it. You got to like do a specific time during the day to make reach the most amount of people. It's just
literally
it's a lot.
Like, it's just one of them. Like, thankfully we've got like some really cool people around us that do like our photos regular for us, and like video and stuff, and they're on it with stuff. Like, as anyone in a band will know, or if you don't know, if you get the right people around you doing that kind of thing, like, it makes everything easier. But it is enjoyable at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those ones where it's such a quick moving landscape that like, we play a show and then we need the photos edited and ready to post at 12 p.m. like latest the next day. So like, even though you've just played your show, you've lugged all your gear out, you're driving home, you're knackered, you've got to go to work, but then you've also got to have all this content prep for the next day, and then it's like a constant process. And I think sometimes maybe people don't really understand from an outside perspective that the amount of time and effort we do put into it.
It don't stop.
Yeah, it doesn't stop. And but we love it at the same time. It's not like a chore for us.
Yeah.
But it's just the pressure sometimes is like, I don't know, with having a full-time job as well, it gets a lot. So yeah, but you can only get to not having a full-time job by
to do that,
all of that stuff. Yeah. So it's just something you have to do, and we're fine with doing that. So
Well, going back to the EP, I think, is this the first time you didn't self-produce? You went to, was it Jamie Ward?
Yeah, the legend.
Yeah, well, Mason and I had actually worked with Jamie when we were younger, and like, obviously Jamie was younger as well. So it was so nice to like revisit, and then obviously we've came up, like we've both progressed so much from when he'd worked with us. And he had as well, hasn't he? He's like, God, he makes recording just so easy, and he gave us like a new enjoyment. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we'd never really done it before, and I think we'd always kind of wanted to do it, but it was very like budget sensitive. So we always just did it in house because it completely negated all of those costs. But yeah, we got in touch with him, I think in December last year, and then planned to do Cherry and Johnny at the same time, and he just got it, like, from the demos and from pre-production and everything. I remember one thing that he said that resonated with me. He was like, you don't need a producer to find your sound. He was like, you just need someone to take the mixing and the engineering up a level, basically.
Right.
To capture it with all the, like vintage gear and good amps and good studios, really. And the result has completely blown our expectation out of the water.
Well, certain songs like that, again, for example, from the record, like we demoed that and we absolutely loved it, and we were like, this is definitely going on the record, like this is like, we really believed in it. And then we went to the studio and we ended up recording it, and as it was being like built, as we were doing every layer, it was just like it was crazy, wasn't it? It just completely changed. And we were like, considering we loved it before, it was like to then have it at another level, we were like, oh my God, like this is beyond what we even imagined it could have been. And Jamie, I think we worked with some other producers before that haven't really quite captured what we wanted, and sometimes it's really hard to sort of articulate that into words for a producer because they're only going off what you're going to say to them and what you want. So the fact that we have that level with Jamie that's sort of already there without us having to explain everything in detail, it makes it a lot more fluid and enjoyable.
One thing we were keen about recording with Jamie was that we wanted to get our live sound across on the record as well, though. Like, people would come into our shows and being like, "You're so much bigger and louder live, like, I can't believe it, like, you sound incredible." Like, the record don't sound like that. And I was like, oh my God. Like, sound for the compliment, but at the same time, like, okay. But then, like, this time around, it's been like,
you sound exactly like the record.
We take, it's nice now because I'm like, I just, not like I want to sound like the record, but, well, you do. You write the song to sound like the record, but you can change things. But it's nice to have that
foundation.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
Do you think you'll go back to Jamie again, or are you going to go self-producing? Did you learn anything from him that you might take yourselves?
I think I can say on behalf of all of us, we're super keen. We've already got a few little plans with Jamie. Like, we're thinking of doing a live session.
He's like, I love it. You can just tell he was like, shit. He did this at a gig the other day. He just announced, I don't even know if I can say it. Anyway, he said something. Look, we hadn't announced yet, and at the show, and we were just like, we're on stage. We were just like, yeah, that was unannounced, but you're welcome, everyone.
Keep it to yourselves.
Well, the plan is, like, we've got some exciting stuff planned next year, and we're definitely Jamie will be definitely involved. Yeah,
right.
If there are any like young bands or people in bands listening to this, like, we highly recommend him. He's just awesome.
I think with a lot of people as well,
to the next level.
If they're going into a studio as well, and they're maybe not as experienced or maybe nervous to go into the studio, Jamie makes it just like an environment where you'd feel totally comfortable and brings the best out of everyone. So yeah, he's great.
Well, speaking of like replicating that sound live, we mentioned earlier, the Sleep show that later this week is going to be your last show of the year. When you look back at 2023 for Mouth Culture, how do you kind of look at it? How do you feel about what you've achieved in those 12 months?
Fucking blur. Yeah. God.
I mean, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit sometimes. We are.
I know. Honestly, it's been the year for me personally. I needed it this year. Like, really, it fucking saved me in a way. Like, we started in a really fucking bad place. We're ending it. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's been unreal, mate. I'm gonna keep it short because I could literally probably start crying when I think about some shit. But it's been from the pedal market to the octagon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the metaphor. And
it's another huge thing is obviously we're so excited for next year. Like, this is only the start. People keep reminding us that you've been going for a while, but people are only just finding out about you, and that is the same with like so many people, so many artists, so many bands. And sometimes it does get hard, and like I said at the start of this year, it was really hard. But we've never been more inspired, have we? And like, just ready to, like, we've already started the next record. I'm not going to say anything else about that. We've got I'm just not going to. There's so many things I want to say. Yeah, we got this, and this, but yeah, next year's going to be cool, man. And we're really gassed about it.
Are you going to be able to top this year with 2024?
For sure, man.
Yeah.
We're on a roll at the minute. I just think it's just keeping the foot on the gas in it. It's when you've got momentum, it's the worst thing you can do is not capitalize on it. I think that's what we're just.
We've made we've made so many friends and new fans this year, and it's been like mind blowing, and it's been eye opening as well because I just never thought it. I just didn't think it could happen, but we have people traveling from like different countries to see us now and stuff, and they're like our mates. Like, and we've got a Discord where our fans are all arranging to meet up, and like, I can take you if you can't get to the show, brother. And it's just like,
say about the couple from the London show.
Oh my God, we played London last week, and this couple came up to us outside. We were just having a smoke, and they were like, obviously we said hello, and then they said, "Oh, do you want to know something weird?" And we were like, "Yo, what?" And they said, "When you played at Acres, we both came to see you on our own, and we met at that gig, And then 4 months later, they now live with each other in London. We're like, what?
So we're like the new Tinder. I think.
Yeah.
Bringing people together.
Yeah. So, but it's stuff like that, and we get so many really like a lot of heartfelt messages about the music and how it's helped people and stuff. And I think we sometimes don't understand how it does that, but the fact that people are wanting to let us know that it has done that for them it's amazing. And sometimes we don't know what to say in that way. I think we're getting a bit better with those sort of
I'll always be real with people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not that. It's just I think you just want to.
It can be overwhelming sometimes.
Because
it's so touching. It's crazy. It is. It blows our minds every time that our music can actually do that.
Yeah. I guess at the moment you're making that song, and to you in that moment you're just writing these like lyrics, these notes and all that kind of stuff. But then later down the line you're literally impacting people's lives.
That's someone's anthem, isn't it? That's what I mean. Like, but you can see it on their faces when we've been singing them live. Like, some people are screaming it, and I'm here for it. Do you know what I mean? I can't wait next year just to see more and more of it, and hopefully we'll be playing bigger shows. And we just want to reach the masses now. Do you know what I mean? We've wrote the songs now. We just want to go and sing them to some people. That's what next year's about. Yeah.
So, but if we look at, let's say we were to have this conversation this time next year, what would you want to have achieved by then? What's on the bucket list?
We want to play with you, mate. 6.
We want to play with you, mate. 6. That'd be good. We
like to get some festivals in the summer for sure. We've already got a few lined up, but we've got a very busy first few months of 2024. So I guess the goal is to just keep that going across the whole of 2024. And then
I think festivals are a big thing because with COVID and when we first started and all this, you'd be surprised. Like, it's been really hard for us to ever get on any festivals because there's been such a backlog from the years before. And then I think we're now at the point where we'll be playing, we already know, we'll be playing a few festivals this year, which we're fucking so excited about. I can't wait.
We're excited to play a festival outside as well. That's nice.
Yeah.
Because the ones we've done so far.
We just want to get rowdy, man.
Yeah. Like that open air.
On my chest. No. What else? Come on, we do better than that.
I mean, we want to get another.
Say something outrageous, then we'll do it next year. Say something absolutely.
You need to manifest it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanna
go to Europe, not just in general, by the way. To
what do you want? To Russia?
No, Europe.
Oh God,
Russia! Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I'd love to say I met like one of my childhood heroes. Yeah.
What, you want to meet one of your childhood heroes?
Like someone that I'm like, fuck off.
That's always a good one to leave.
I think because next year there's possibilities it could happen. I'm excited for that. Get some selfies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So the goal is to improve the personal grammar.
Be that.
Well, I'm sure there's going to be lots happening next year for you guys, and the EP is great, so that's only going to catapult you into getting all these new opportunities. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens for you guys, and thanks again for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
We've enjoyed this.
Thank you so much for taking it. It's our first one. You know what I mean?
So, I broke your podcast virginity.
We all wanted to say something, but we couldn't again. Get better at this,
Yeah.
No, thank you. Like I said, thank you so much for having us on here, man.
Of course. Before I let you go, you got any final words you want to say? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to?
Can you please follow us on everything at Mouth Culture? That's the only way you're going to find out what's going on in this day and age. We've got, I'm saying that, I don't care. We've got a tour coming at the end of February and in March. The Mishaps of my mid-20s tour. UK, there's some Welsh dates in there as well, some Scottish dates. It will all be announced real soon, probably sooner than you think. But yeah.
Awesome.
Lovely stuff.
Thanks again, guys. Enjoy your Christmas and New Year's and stuff. And
happy Christmas, man. Happy Christmas, everyone that's listening. Thank you very much for having us, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. See you later, dude.
Bye.
Bye.
And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. fanbase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.